Frack on. Welcome to another episode of Frack the Canon. Joined by the coolest motherfuckers around. I am joined by my brother from another mother, Mr. Kenny Jasper. How you doing, sir? I don't know why I did it with the southern accent. How you doing, sir?
Well, you see now, the
Yeah,
thing is, I'm doing great. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. It's been a minute. We've been busy. We've had life happen.
Yep.
But we've seen Power Rangers once and always.
Yep.
You saw us do the review. Saw us do a couple scenes. I'm watching it right now again, just as a background, to get ready for this review. Um, let's talk about this, Kenny. What did you think?
Um, I thought that they did a pretty darn good job of making me feel like it was an old Power Rangers episode. I mean, it's cheesy in the right ways and it's nostalgic in the right ways. But they grew up with the fans where they could, and they did some adult things that we haven't really seen the Rangers do before.
I remember thinking this is. I remember feeling awesome. This is excited. I remember thinking this is really good. But I'm like, but something's bugged me, and I forgot what it was. Like, I mean, it's cool. We see the morph. We see the five original costumes again. Not the five original Rangers, but the five costumes. We saw.
Well, the
Uh,
six.
yeah, six. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we saw what else? We saw them use the power weapons. We see them use all this stuff. We saw them use the Megazord, which again, I'm still bothered by the Megazord. The Megazord is not my favorite. I'm taking my glasses because of it. The Megazord is not my favorite thing.
No, and like you can tell it's Netflix. Like they shot it, not shot it on a soundstage, but
No, it's. I think Simon. I think Simon. I forgot his name right now. Forgive me. But Simon something is one of the executive producers of Power Rangers. Said that they pretty much just 3D scanned the new toy
toy.
droids and
Yeah,
just use that. I'm like, this is why it looks so weird. But
yeah,
I thought that was cool. I mean, here's the thing: everything that they did on the show hit me on the nostalgia feels. Like, this is awesome. This is great. I did get
yeah.
to it a couple times, like the putty fight in the juice bar and Ernie's juice bar.
Messing with this place was a big mistake.
Which I'm saying, like, awesome, cool, this is great. Why are we here?
Which, yeah, but I think that whole thing. Well, the Ernie Juice Bar was just like the fan service, right?
Right.
They also do a great joke because it's not the original juice bar, but they're like, "Does this place feel smaller to you?"
Look at this place. I mean, it's as if nothing's changed. It's just a little bit smaller, maybe.
And then they're like, "Well, maybe we're just bigger or whatever." Something along those lines, right?
Right.
And it's to remind you guys that like the world is big when you're a kid, and this was a show for kids, so everything felt bigger. And then you come back to it as an adult, and maybe it's not quite like you remember it. Um, but my biggest takeaway from all of it was there's very few things in life that last this long, especially in the media world. Like I think it's what Star Trek, Doctor Who, Power Rangers, and Star Wars, and even then, like some of those have hiatuses of plus years. Rangers is like one of the few where their longest hiatus has been maybe 2 years, back in 2010 when Disney wasn't sure if they were going to continue doing it or not.
Yeah, that sounds
And
about
then,
right. I think, yeah.
yeah,
Um, what was it? Because what was it? Yeah, Disney was selling it to back to Saban
yeah,
and RPM to the Samurai, and no, and
yeah.
I think we're entering another hiatus again too. I think there is another transfer. I don't know what's happening.
Well, so Hasbro has it now, and they just filmed their first season, um, which is only going to be like I think like anywhere from 6 to 10 episodes. I think it'll probably average into 8 or whatever it is. But
It's
it's
Cosmic
newly,
Fury, right? Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It's Cosmic Fury, and they're not using the Japanese fight footage or suits anymore. Now it's like original stuff. So I think that Hasbro might feel like they're in over their heads, so they're gonna take a little break on it.
Let's
And
put a
see
pin on
how.
that. Let's put a pin on that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that, but maybe it should be another episode. Let's talk about the
Oh
about
yeah. But
I,
let's get back to once or yeah.
yeah. Um, that'll be another episode. If you're free up to it, we'll do it today too.
Okay.
But back to the show. So back where were we? I was talking about the
the seeing the Ranger suits again.
the Zord, yeah, the Megazord. I'm like, it looks cool. Like everything went cool. The only thing I was missing, one thing missing, and he didn't say it. The thing didn't say it. It was supposed to, and it threw me out of it because I'm just like being a Power Rangers fan when it first came out in 1993, when it didn't say. I'm like, what, dude? How did you miss that? That threw me out. I'm like,
activated. Yeah.
I missed that, dude. Because it said battle mode activated, Megazord activated. So I'm like, why is this thing talking? But I'm like, okay, cool. But it was cool. All right. Back then in the 90s, we were simpler kids back then.
Yeah.
But like again, all the moments were cool with the nostalgia feel. Like this is cool. Like they all hit me right for the nostalgia feel. Story wise, I'm like, wait, what? Why is Rita back? Because she overtook Alpha 8's body or Alpha 7's body, and then because Billy had to find Zordon. Go ahead, sorry.
I like you. I started rewatching just to try and refresh myself on a couple of things. Something I caught the second watch that I didn't catch the first watch was so Billy's trying to restore Zordon, right? Yeah, he's trying to get Zordon back. And in the process of that, he pulls back Rita's essence, which I in kind of then jump into the lore of. Does that mean Rita and Zordon have similar like power essence in a way? Like
is that how you took it as? Because I took it as like it was the evil Rita, the evil energy or whatever. Because I'm like, because Rita turned into that person we see in one scene and turned into destruction.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'm like,
yeah, like so then her evil essence goes into the atmosphere. So if it's possible that after Countdown to Destruction, no, is it Countdown to Destruction? Wasn't that the turbo? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
when Andros breaks the tube and releases Zordon, and turns all the evil good, does that mean Zordon's gone forever? Does he go to the Morphin grid? Is there a way to find him again? Because if you can pull Rita's power, then can you still try to track down Zordon's power? And that's what Billy's trying to do. And so, I mean, there's like those weird little, like, why does Alpha 8, like, just being absorbed by the power turn into Robo Rita? And I think a lot of it is just pure fan service because it's your old Rangers fighting a familiar enemy, but with the adult themes. Like the biggest thing that we haven't touched on yet is Trini's death is the first what?
You know, I love that face. Just like I love all the power in my new robot body. But I'll gladly give up some of that energy for a spell that kills!
Trini!
Official on-screen like death. I know Kendrick's in Lost Galaxy, but and it's been a while since I've seen Lost Galaxy, but if I remember correctly, at the end of that season, she's not technically dead. They figure out a way to like restore her or bring her on screen for something.
Right. And it's funny, yeah. So that was a big thing too. That was a big I thought that was interesting. I'm like, that's cool. We finally see a death, a character die in action. I thought that was pretty cool. The only thing that again threw me out of it, because you know me, I'm a continuity freak. I'm like, why? So where have the Mighty Morphin Powers been all this time if the other teams have been active?
Yeah.
Um,
Like it almost feels like they're not like they're in retirement, but they're like, you kids got it, right? Like we can go
we can go build
like
our own lives, right? Because like according to this, to the, Once and Always, I'm like, he built an empire. I'm like,
yeah.
how did he build an empire when he was in space or in Aquatar for so long? Where was Zach? When did they come back from the World Peace Conference?
Yeah. So they don't answer questions like that really. They just kind of run with it. Like Zach's like a senator or works in the government, and Billy
Wait, is that
has
what he
like
did? I didn't get that at all from the show. Where did they say
yeah.
that?
Min says it. It's like kind of a one-off line. Like she says something Uncle Zach like, or like I know it's a lot of work. Um, not working in the government, but something she says something along the lines of it. Because like the world peace stuff. But like we don't know what Jason or Kimberly are really up to.
Mhm.
Because Kat shows up and she's a mom and married Tommy, which does match continuity based on Zio, or the Chris is it the Zio Christmas special or whatever it
Yeah,
was, which is a total obscure reference. Um,
I mean,
uh,
yeah, I mean,
but
continuity in Power Rangers is so all over the place.
I'd always throw it back to it's a show for kids. It's just we were kids when the show came out. We never lost our childlike wonder for it or the fun that it gives us. Like there's still moments that made me like feel like I was, 5 years old again. Um, so it did a good job in my eyes.
Yeah,
It's not perfect, but
agreed. I agree with you. Like, I feel that it got all the right stuff. I'm like, yeah. On the first watch, I'm like, cool. There's the rad bug. There's the power weapon. There's the
yeah,
power knife. There's the Megazord. Awesome, great. The storyteller in me, the writer in me, the grown up in me was like, when did Billy come back? And I want to. I don't want to like because it's so hard to like. I know the writers. I know how hard it is to write the story and film it and everything, and make it go through all these notes because we have to do that in film school and take a shot. Was like, this is what you have to do to make it done. Like you have to. There's a story you want it perfect. Then you have to do it for production costs. Then you have to rewrite it for logistics. So I know how hard it is. So I'm like, oh my god, okay. I just like, where have they been all this time? Like it asks questions that it never answers, or it answers
yeah,
questions that were never asked. Like here's Billy back on Earth. It's like, well, where? How did he come back?
yeah.
How did
How
he
did he get
build up
back from
Cranston Enterprises?
Aquatar? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, the
No,
biggest one for me was Rita. Was Rita taking over Alpha's body? That's how I understood it. Like Rita's evil spirit took over a robot's body. I'm like, and that too again, raised Catholic. I'm like, what?
yeah.
Um,
Well, not only took over a robot's body, but transformed it into her design just as a robot.
so let's talk about
Like,
that too because I think it feels to me, and I mean, it is. This is, I'm pretty sure this is why they did it. Well, they did that so that they can, so that they can bring back Barbara Gordonson, I believe her name is.
yeah,
Um, how did you feel about it being Rita? I'm like, I almost thought for, I almost kind of like, yeah, it should have been anyone else. Like, bring her back, but just bring her as a new character. Like, why not bring back what's the name? What's his name? From Operation Overdrive, Thrax, the son and daughter of
yeah.
Lord and Red, Lord and Zeta.
So and then, it goes into the whole continuity issue. There's a lot there, like, the Dino team up that happens, before, or, yeah, before this season of Dinosaurs. They brought back Goldar, and like it's Goldar, but it's completely redesigned. Um, and
Goldar
they do
Maximus.
this, yeah, and it's kind of weird. I don't know. They could have brought back like Scorpina, and made her like different, but she's a face character too. And if they recast it, then they're gonna get criticism on that.
Right.
But maybe they could have made like Robot Scorpion or something like that. They just wanted to hit all the similar beats that you had said something that made me realize why I haven't sat down to rewatch it a couple times. I think the first watch was all I really needed. It made me feel the things that I needed to feel as an adult, like made me feel like a kid again. Trying to rewatch it, and then I start nitpicking those small details. Um, and I don't want to do that. I don't feel like I need to do that with this. I feel like this is, hey, here's the Rangers you knew. Here's where they're at as adults. Here's the Go-Go Power Rangers music. Here's them fighting the enemies you know. Here's the sets that you're familiar with, and then here's the fan service that you would ask for. The call out to Terra Venture, the Bandora Protocol, and what is it? The Reef Side, like all the names and like the things that if you pay attention to some of the little details, it's like it makes you nerd out and geek out as a Ranger fan.
Um, I just love this show so much, and I'm not being an ass, and I'm not trying to think I'm doing this with the show. I love this show. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
why? And now I understand in film school, like they're in writing, they're like, why? Like, if you care about it, you put it as a tough question. So I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Let's stop talking. I mean, obviously, we both like loved it. Like, it was fun. It was awesome. It was a good time for one watch
Yeah.
only. And then if you watch it more than once, you might be like, wait a minute.
Yeah. You
What were
might
your
start
favorite
asking.
moments? Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, my favorite moment was seeing the rad bug again. Like, I know it's such a small kind of thing in the bigger picture of the entire show, but um it it felt like it was one of those season one details. And as the show just Rangers as a series in general progresses and gets like bigger and more ridiculous and everything, it was kind of like that cool little like, oh my god, there's a thing that I remember from a kid in an episode that was like, I don't know, like I still remember that original episode where they're all in Billy's garage and he's like, this is the rad bug, and they jump in and it's on a forgive me, on a freaking green screen, and they're like flying around and like doing the whoa. And now you see it again, but it's the Rad Bug 2 and better CGI, better animation. Um, I don't know, it was just like such a small little thing that they didn't need to include, but they did. And it made me forget about my problems as an adult and remember what it was like being a kid in front of the TV every day, um, on Fox Kids or whatever, wherever Power Rangers was being shown.
Um, I was gonna say, yeah, because I remember, I remember that was my favorite thing at Power Rangers. Like, when Power Rangers on, it's my time. I love it. Yeah, it did exactly. The Power Rangers was kind of like my depression, my relaxation, my like escape from reality. Let's just have a good time. And
Yep.
this episode, this once and always, definitely did that. It definitely made me feel 7 years old again with my like, dude, holding this like lifetime. I never got one as a kid, so I finally got one as an adult.
Yeah. They say everything that's 30 years old, like whatever property reaches by the time its fan base reaches the age of 30 and they have their disposable income, that's usually when they start going back and you buy the things that you didn't have as a kid.
Mhm.
You invest in those memories because life is tough, or like your day to day is hard, and you have like a fond memory of when things were easier. So like I still have mine from when I was a kid. I was fortunate enough to have one, but I lost a lot of my childhood toys growing up, but the ones that I kept, I'll keep until I pass away or pass them on. So
Um, what was I gonna say?
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
Um,
Uh, I forgot. It was just like that's how we became friends too, dude. That's how we became.
yeah,
That's how we met other friends too. Like that's how we met. Renee was at a Power Rangers convention. Like Power Rangers, this is like this is our like.
people
Mhm. Yep.
people like I don't know, they make fun of it for it being like cheesy and colorful spandex and whatnot. But if you go to a Power Morphicon, that fan base is like some of the most inclusive, friendliest, like coolest people you'll meet. Everybody's friendly. Um, like there's no judgment. There's no like negativity. I had the actor that plays Bulk. He went out to smoke a cigarette. I don't know if you can put this on YouTube. I was standing outside drinking some water, just getting some fresh air, like getting some sweat off from the convention. This man comes out, just lights up a cigarette, and just starts talking to me. And like it took me a minute to realize who he was, so I didn't like nerd out or like fangirl or anything. And then he's just telling me, he's like, when you go out and you look at the stars, and like we had a whole astronomy constellation conversation. Then he walked away, and I turned around and went, I just had a conversation with Bulk, like a philosophical conversation with the Power Ranger bully. And it was like, that's a memory I'm gonna get for the rest of my life. Like
That's cool, dude. I did not know that. When was this?
this was the Morphicon that I went to after the one we went to. So this would have been we went in 2014.
Yep.
So this would have been 2016.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember because I wanted to go. I'm just like I couldn't. I was just so busy with work.
You couldn't, yeah, no. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? But overall, oh shit. Sorry. Overall, so I'm doing some other stuff too on the side. I am listening.
You're
Um,
good.
yeah. Overall, I enjoyed it. I would say just watch it once or twice. Don't watch it more than that. I again still just have those issues with the Zords, and I would have liked to have seen this, but I'm cool with it. That they didn't do it was them putting the weapons together to do the.
Let's bring them together! Power Axe!
Power bow! Power daggers!
Power Lance! Power Sword!
Power Rangers!
I remember in the original show they would call it Howling Cannon, or was that the Japan? Was that Zoo Ranger?
That's the Japanese show, the Zoo Ranger, I'm pretty sure. In the American show, in Rangers, they call it the Power Blaster.
Okay, I thought, okay, that makes a
'Cause
lot
it-
of sense.
Yeah, because
Um,
Power Axe, Power Sword, Power
Right.
Bow, Power Daggers, Power Lance. So
Um, so I would have wished like they would have done that, but I'll take it.
yeah, we get a kind of version of that where they're in Bandora's palace, right? And then they all do like a powered up attack move with their weapons.
That's something I wish we would have seen more of too. In this show was like them using the weapons, more martial arts, more of them in the suits, more of them like being power. I don't know, like it was cool seeing all the original footage. I'm like, this is so cool. Like
Yeah.
excuse me, them in the Megatron cockpit was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So like, okay, cool. I don't know. Like I just said, like I think I loved it. I I just have those couple of issues with them, but on that though, I think it was a pretty good show, pretty good episode, pretty good love letter. for the fans, to the fans. I do understand and feel a lot of the people's what is it? Complaints.
Criticism.
Yeah, criticism like that. Those are valid points. I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm like they're valid. I just it didn't bug me as much as it bugged them, except
Yeah.
for the story. I guess the storyteller in me is like,
I well, and I something I've been holding in my back pocket is when I first started watching this, I was like, I've read this script. I read this script about 10 years ago. I know who wrote this script. René wrote this script. And,
yeah,
and
I kind of did. Kind of like
yours, it does not beat for beat the same. They didn't rip you off. You don't got to go after them, but there's some things where I was like, I know these or like the beats, like the ranger dying, um, uh, being attacked all over the world, things like that. I was like, I know this story, and so I think that you, as a fan, it's not your story, but it's a similar concept too, without any of the like without hard continuity or hard connections placed. It's very loose continuity in this movie.
very much so, and I didn't think about that, but I'm like I didn't think because I did write it 10 years ago, a little bit longer, but I'm like I have the script. There's somewhere in here. I have that script of Power Rangers that I wrote. And those words, I've heard that before too. When the Saban 2017 movie came out, TJ's like, dude, I read the script. You wrote this to me, like you wrote this, you pitched this to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I did, didn't I?
Yep.
So I'm like, I feel validated as a writer, as a creative. Pay me, Saban. Pay me, Nickelodeon.
They ain't paying their own writers right now. You think they're gonna pay you?
I'm this close to becoming a scab. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No.
I am not. Respect the
I
strike.
wouldn't. I would cut that from this episode.
Do
Don't.
not cross the picket. Do not cross the picket line.
Yeah.
It was a joke. I think I will cut it out. Actually,
We
you know,
stand.
I will, actually, no. I'm gonna put a little third.
Leave that shit
This is a
in.
joke. This is a joke. This is a
Yeah.
joke.
Aw, joke.
Yeah.
Joke.
But I think that it's yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Again, here's the one thing I wish I would have seen more of, and I don't know why we didn't, but it would have been cool. I would have tried to make it work. Adam and Zach having more scenes together,
Oh yeah.
because that was cool. That scene at the end with them, I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, something we haven't talked about, and we can talk about this. We still got a little bit of time. We can. It's my episode. We can make it as long as I want. What do you think about Min as a Yellow Ranger? What do you think about her story arc?
I think it makes total sense.
Okay.
In the way that they have to replace Trini because the actress died 22 years ago. And like they can put her or like keep saying it's Trini, but they'll never have that face wearing that suit or in a scene again. And so this was like a good opportunity to kind of carry on the legacy. And then I think it was a smart choice to do it, pass the power on to her daughter. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, it feels like the series is growing up with us in this, in the way that like now it's time for us to accept the next generation coming in. And because like a lot of the Gen Z are 18, 19, 20.
Yep.
And a lot of people my age have children or growing up and learning how to raise those children. So it's I think it did what Power Rangers does, which it's cool robots, explosions, monsters, but also tells you or leaves you with a moral at the end of the story. And like there was something that I noticed the second watch through that I didn't notice on the first watch through. Zach tells Min,
Look, this is Ranger business, not teenage girl that has homework due business, okay?
and I was like, this is a show where their tagline was teenagers with attitude, right?
Right. Exactly.
Like, And I was like, you were in continuity, Zach, you were a teenager when you started being a ranger, and then as the series progressed, like you get to Lightspeed, they're all adults, right?
Yeah,
Like you get to Wild Force, they're all adults. Ninja Storm, they're very, they feel like that 17 to 21-year-old range.
you get
Um, Dino Thunder, they take it back to high school, but then you bring in Tommy, who's like 50, feels like he's 50 years old at that point. And it's like, okay, so you got teenagers being with a ranger who's, your grandfather, like cool. Um like you start to, this was like the one where it felt like they're aware of, hey, we're adults, maybe we shouldn't be having children save the world. But then you got to remember that's how this series started.
getting Ninja Storm. It felt like they were maybe college age, at best college age.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
high school, but for sure college age. Dino Thunder brought him back to high school, and still I'm still like, because I remember when that came out, it was my senior year of high school, and I'm like maybe you should have high schoolers protecting the world, and then SPD, they're still teenagers with attitude, but they're cops, so they're also kind of like police academy or whatever.
When that's a job, like they're working a job, like
Yeah,
because
they
they're
got paid. SPD
cops,
got
they're
paid.
space cops. Yeah.
They didn't get
Um,
Mighty Morphin didn't get paid.
no. And
Um,
then Operation Overdrive, they're like adventure hunters. The Jungle Fury, they kind of feel teenagers, but there's no school in that. They work at a pizza place. Like RPM, they're basically government agents. Like um
um,
like special forces almost.
and then Samurai. I think we're just gonna go down through the whole list.
Oh, we might as well at this point.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Samurai is I guess they're also teenagers. I
Well,
think.
and that one, well, no, I mean it's, the actors clearly aren't. But they don't really tell very well. That one, like they feel young, but they don't feel like teenagers with attitude. Actually,
No,
that entire series feels like it lacks a lot of attitude. Um, Mystic Force, they work at like a record store.
yeah. So I mean, they
Um,
could also, but we never saw them go to school.
no, like I feel like the last series to really talk about school or
With
like,
Mega Force and Super Mega Force, because they go back to high school in
yes,
that one,
yes, yeah. Um,
and then after that, it's Morphers, and
uh,
they're also government agents. Like, but then I guess you find out it's a sequel of RPM,
yeah,
and then we're going way off topic again. I'm gonna put this for another episode.
that's
Uh,
fine. Yeah.
Final comments, final thoughts of Ones and Always.
If it's not perfect by any means, but it's Power Rangers. And it does what Power Rangers does. Allows you to check out a reality for 20 minutes, in this case, close to what, an hour. Um, and so you get to sit down and feel like a kid again, especially if it's a show you grew up with. If you're a newer Rangers fan and you're not familiar with these characters or stories, it might not impact you as much. But if you're between the ages of 30 and 40, um, I highly recommend sit down, find an hour in your day, sit down and watch it, because um, it's cheesy when it needs to be cheesy, and it's fun when it needs to be fun, and it's serious because there's serious topics for one of the first times in Power Rangers. Like it'll never be perfect,
I
but
Do you think it's
I
more?
don't
Go sorry.
I think it's more phenomenal. Um, I don't like rating Rangers on a 1 to 10 scale. Maybe because I'm biased. Uh, but I never expect a 10 out of 10, but it'll never be a 1 out of 10. So
Okay, okay. If we're going to give it a rating, we don't ever give official ratings of what we give it. We just talk about what we like and didn't like. We don't say go see it or don't go see it unless it's a really bad, really, really good.
Yeah.
If we're gonna give it a rating, I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
I think that's very fair.
I think it's a 7 because like it got me in the feels, it got me everything, and then something again as I have it in the background too, just kind of like keep thinking about it. Was we had a in the fandom, in the Power Rangers fandom, our fandom can be toxic, and it has been toxic.
Yeah.
Something that kind of brought us all back together a little bit was the passing of Jason David Frank recently, and seeing that song, that music video, it's from an episode too, by Morphin, they play at the end, that Kimberly's playing. That really got me crying. That really got me tearing up.
Yeah.
That really got me. That really moved me. I'm like, why am I crying right now? I'm like, it's been months now at this point, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't. Like with Trini, I was ready, but with Tommy, with Jason David Frank, I was not ready. And
Still
I don't
so
think it's up,
fresh.
but my eyes are still a little bit watery enough. But I was not ready for that. That really got to me. So I will say this: it's a great love letter to Power Rangers. The action's fun. It's great. It's everything. Don't go in looking for a perfect story because again, we don't get that in Power Rangers. Power Rangers is just infamous for horrible continuity, and we're just like, all right, let's just go with this. And I had a hell of a time. I still watch it every now and then just to be like, I'm 7 years old again.
It's like it's your comfort blanket, man.
Exactly.
Like that's what it is for me. And you're right. Like, just it's Power Rangers. Like you love it or you don't. But they always have good message. So
Well, thank you, Kenny. Thank you for joining me as we go back and have a more phenomenal look back at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers once and always. We'll see you same fracking time, same fracking channel. Frack off.